Yeah, actually, the last time Mad was in play-ins, 2020, the old top laner of Mad played Camille, and Impact then played Mordekaiser and dunked on him.
Yeah.
So the same coach for Mad Lions was on stage that day. Who knows if that has any impact on it, but I agree with you. Mordekaiser can actually be a legitimate counterpick into Camille, and watch for a very funny interaction if Sylas ever steals Mordekaiser ultimate, because they share the same death realm.
You hang out together.
You can actually have 4 players in Mordekaiser's realm at the same time, but that's for the future. Will be impossible to read on Spectator, but is really cool in game.
I'm trying to think of what's the meme where you're like surprised to see someone there. Or you're like, oh, you're here. That is my interaction playing like 2 days ago. So Mordekaiser like, there's a Sylas in my death realm. What's going on? And immediately pops out because my top laner killed him or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. But it could be a fun game overall. I'm excited for this one. European fans, if Mad Lions wins, they are tie-breaking for first, either a 2-way or a 3-way tie. RNG could join. They're likely to if it happens. Obviously, DRX fans hoping they just win. They 5-0 it. And if you're tiebreaker fans, you're Mad Lions fans. More tiebreakers if Mad wins.
Yeah, Europe loves ties. I hear that.
Yeah.
It's an old saying.
It's ancient wisdom, you know, brought down from the elders. And I want to see what happens here, because it's going to be a very fun game of League of Legends. DRX and Mad Lions hit the rift here as you figure out who is grabbing the top spot in Group B. The LEC's 4th seed Mad Lions still have full control. Speaking of control, you can link your League account with Twitch Prime to receive free digital goods and control those as well.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit more about the cohesion of the team comps, I really do like what DRX has put together. I think anytime you draft Sejuani, it's best to draft it with 2 melee champions in your solo lanes. It just makes your skirmishing so powerful. I do believe that if any 2v2 happens that is either jungle mid or jungle top that is somewhat neutral, the champion combos with Sejuani will win that. So it's going to be very difficult for Mad to gain early control in either the mid or the top lane. And then that moves you towards, okay, if Mad wants to try and make a play, let's go bot lane, which would be their best chance, but Sivir can play very defensively if needed. So I really do, I think the way DRX is going to play here is look to control the top side, just let Deft get CS, and then that'll make them strong enough to also control Rift Herald at 8 minutes. So I actually really like what DRX has, and I think Mad needs something kind of uniquely good to happen in the early game to have an edge.
Interesting start to this game, as it is a late invade towards the bottom side. As Sejuani was getting nearly a leash, she would actually have been chunked out. Elyoya, you don't love starting red buff. You always start Q, and you want to get the 4 hits off on Raptors. It's like your fast way to level 2.
Yeah.
Has to smite the red. He's going to be okay, but we'll see how much counter juggling happens with Sejuani. No one's for sure this has happened.
Yeah, I do like starting red if it's not yours. And you're able to start with the opponent's red. But that is the danger, right? Because this, I think that a cross by Sejuani into the red buff of Bel'Veth could be advisable, but based on the way Nisqy has controlled this mid wave, as with early push, actually makes it impossible. So that's actually, to me, a really good start by Matt.
And Worcester pretty well takes the 2 easily taken camps. Going for Krugs is a bit of a risk, to be honest. So now throwing this one on Vision, unless he poaches some XP from mid. He does get level 3 because this is an XP poach from mid. Normally, Raptors Red is not that level, but extra clear speed feels pretty good. Sejuani slinking around here with the wave pushed in. Again, knows that Bel'Veth went towards red. Gonna try now, stun lands into Nisqy. Has the fear available, aims it towards Pyosik. Force him to sidestep to get away from it. Actually buys himself an extra second or so of time. Forward, though, he's gonna have to flash this one. So a well-done gank. Nisqy plays it out nice, but the flash is still forced.
Yeah, but he ultimately just needed to buy time for his jungler, which he has successfully done. Bel'Veth here is the carry, not Nisqy. He can also teleport back and prevent a blue buff take by Pyosik. So I think overall, very well played by Nisqy. Obtaining the mid prio, dodging the gank, and just letting Elyoya farm.
Yep, 2 camps lead right now for the Bel'Veth. Those are 20 about to get...
He is now flash shuttle.
Yeah, and this makes it a little bit scary because you can always Q flash, but Zeka, with not a minute to follow up in any meaningful way, I don't think there's a chance that Nisqy dies anymore. Zeka will need his first recall before too long, and unfortunately, I don't think has enough farm to finish Lost Chapter. Every mid laner would love to play a lane long enough to get a Lost Chapter recall.
Yeah.
Zeka, though, I think needs the mana before that one, so we'll see what he gets, but it won't be a ton.
Yeah, I give very high grades to the way Nisqy has played this early game. He's absorbed 2 jungler ganks, is only down about 5 CS, and his flash, but also has match TP with Zeka, so very well played on the Vex so far.
Yeah, he's given Bel'Veth a 3 camp lead. That's the big thing, right? It's 4 to 7 right now, and she can take her own Krug still. She can get Raptors when they respawn. That is what you want to be here on this champion. And usually does build somewhat damage. Looked at like all-time pro sets for Bel'Veth. There's under 100 games across all leagues. And it's usually Blade of the Ruin King, about half the time Kraken Slayer, and you go things like Death Stance. It's not like the Dead Man's Plate stuff, like the tankier version that we see like from Viego's. So yeah, it is going to be a damage champion. It is going to be a carry, and it's going to be about Elyoya being the difference maker.
Yeah, double CS at the moment, even though Sejuani will quickly ramp that up since Sej has been back to base and there's still no recall yet from Bel'Veth. I also think, other than that, like the game has gone very much the way you would expect it to. Bot lane having push is the somewhat unexpected part since DRX really has pressure everywhere.
Ooh, Unforgiven with Cleanse Not Heal knows that if Deft like lands a flash Q, you're flashing and hoping you don't die from something else out of Yuumi. I mean, Beryl, if Beryl's on the top, it's actually just flash Ignite, and then Q lands and you just kind of die to it. So has to actually drop that entire wave. So Unforgiven, given a bad recall, down 8 CS, and it's going to get worse. And the question is, does DRX take a tempo recall? They should be on Noon Quiver money, even though he did a Doran's Blade start. I think he's farmed enough that he has 1,300. So this is actually a very good recall. I would like to listen to Dragon Control. I'm always a big fan of, okay, our bot lane has infinite priority. Start the Dragon stacking early. It takes half a turn of your jungle to get it. We'll see. Noon Quiver, Control Ward. DRX just have infinite control of bot lane.
Yeah. Freak, looking at the Bomby Cinder by Mordekaiser, I know you're a Mordekaiser enthusiast.
But yeah, big one.
What's your review on this is the first item?
So it's the more common version. I like greedy AP builds where it's like Riley's first and they can't get away, whatever. But this allows him to say, look, if I'm just taking the carry away and making sure that I don't die, and if I take the strongest guy, let's say there's a 6-0 Sylas, like, well, I'll just tank him. We're the 4-4. I live and we come back and it's great. Yeah. And he has the QSS tax, which kills his gold lead.
Right.
It's like, I can just build tank and it's chill. Sunfire or Iceborne Gauntlet are both relatively common on him. Iceborne keeps them in range so you can land the rest of your stuff. It makes your E land really, really commonly. Sunfire just is a decent bruiser item. And most Mordekaisers are doing like Sunfire Demonic or Sunfire Ryleys. That is the common build.
Right.
So yeah, likely what it goes for here, and that's fine. It's like pretty risk averse. You're kind of chilling, and it's not a bad build by any means.
Yeah, and what would you say this would be for, like, I guess Mordekaiser people that wanted to play him in solo queue?
Great.
Riftmaker first if the other team has a tank support like Nautilus. Because then you just kill that tank support at the start of every fight. So almost guaranteed.
So I actually, as a Mord enthusiast, I'm a Mord jungle enthusiast primarily. And it's like, I love just taking their support because it's a guaranteed kill and it feels good. And yeah, Riftmaker, Demonic, like you just kill them really easily. But I actually started watching like GM and Challenger Mordekaiser junglers, and they like exclusively take the carry. Like there's a game where there's a 6-0 Draven, he's like, I rushed Thornmail. And I just sat there the Zhonya second and was like, win for me, everybody!
Interesting.
So I now know what Flowers feels like when he sees Skarner games. Because I have like 5 more minutes of Mordekaiser stories. Like, this champion is fun. Yeah, I think he actually is quite versatile. This is a very standard sort of average build.
Got it. And also you can see a back-to-back red buff invade by Elyoya. So the game plan of let's get Bel'Veth a lot of money is so far working very well as he crosses mid lane looking for something.
Knockup, good sidestep by Zeka. That would have been a little more damage. And you can see Elyoya, if he lands the knockup, press E, gets a couple hundred damage out of it. Doesn't get much more out of it, so off he goes. There is actually choice in Bel'Veth's skill order, by the way. He is doing Q-Max, which lowers the cooldown of his dash, but E-Max is very well represented as well. It is the higher damage build. Less mobility, sure, but E-Max and Bel'Veth is actually completely reasonable as an option. Just not what's going on here. Deft spell shields it, no movement.
Yeah, interesting actually that Bel'Veth is starting up Rift Herald right now. It's all about the reset timing. Zeka was just back to base, and so is Pyosik, because they have no bot prio whatsoever, but they're kind of making the bet that Deft or Beryl aren't moving up, and they can just take this.
I think this for a lot of reasons, actually.
This is really nice.
Yeah, it's not only mid-prio, which is obviously great, but Mordekaiser 1 kills Herald so fast. The passive is one of the best, like, damage caps of jungle monsters, where, you know, percent health damage is capped on jungle monsters, right? But, like, Mordekaiser is a very generous cap, so he burns that stuff really, really fast, and if the jungler does show up, just ults it, and Elyoya is guaranteed the smite. It's one of the powers of playing more top set of jungle is you can just guarantee get rid of the smite. I don't see Sejuani rushing QSS second item, or I mean certainly not first, but I doubt it second either. And just like, okay, every jungles always are, so we do indeed get the 2-minute Herald play, or the 8-minute Herald play, but the very early one, right? It goes to Elyoya, he's ult for him, and he's gonna pop off.
And it also kind of does not play to the expectation of what I thought a Sejuani comp would be able to accomplish. Like, Pyosik was unable to get any early skirmishes with Camille Sejuani or with Sejuani Sylas to be effective, and they weren't able to take top. Like, I think usually with Sejuani double melee, you can usually control the Rift Herald, but that wasn't what happened. He was set pretty far behind by the early shenanigans of Elyoya taking his red buff twice, and wasted so much time getting Nisqy. He was just so far behind the pace that they couldn't even think of contesting.
We are onto the Ruin King, into the jungle. Good flash out by Nisqy, dodged the rest of the slow as well, and a nice attempt. DRX shove a couple of ultis in there. They force a much longer cooldown, but right now in a power trap, missing 2 big teamfight power ultimates, means that Mad Lions actually probably have control over the map overall. Hold that thought though. Elyoya with ulti form says, I will take this fight, jumps into the knockup, even with a Yuumi around, takes an ignite to his name and is like, I'm ult form Bel'Veth, we're chilling.
Yeah, it did give a window for Unforgiven and Kaiser to push bottom finally. They've been getting really pressured under their turret, but it ends up kind of being nothing much to write home about.
Yep. Small gold lead for Mad Lions, fighting for the top spot in the group.
Yeah.
High break with DRX, maybe RNG if they can win as well. Mad Lions looking to make that spot into the group stage happen, and off to a gold lead. Big lead for Armut. Mordekaiser into the pool. Looking at, actually, I had his stats up. Hadn't even played it all summer. Obviously not at Worlds yet either, so digs it into the pool and says, hey, this is actually the time for it. Glad to see him play it. He's doing very well. Sunfire is done. This is the very standard option as the Aegis comes across. Expecting Demonic or Riley second. Yeah. You can see full tank builds if he's just there to siphon someone out. We'll see what comes out of it, though. But looking at this game, I wouldn't even mind getting rid of Sejuani, but we got to fight, of course, in the top side there, Kingen. Gonna go ahead and find his first couple of stuns. The 3v1, the fear's gonna land the damage. Should it be? There it is! First blood comes through the jungle, but the TP coming across. Big damage towards Elyoya, staying alive for now. Death Realm has been popped, so Zeka cannot get anyone useful, or Pyosik can't tell which one. I think it was a Sejuani he had grabbed based on the damage profile, and it meant that you couldn't deliver the stun, you couldn't lock anyone down. Zeka could not finish the kill.
Yeah, Armut removes the synergy with Sejuani after that turret dive. Very well done. And the kill goes over to Lord Elyoya. He gets all the CS. Every move is for him. Every red buff is for him. Blade of the Ruin King completed, and free boots now in his inventory. Let's watch this one more time. You can see there'd be a temptation to try an ult right now, but you have to stop it. If you're the Mordekaiser, they get the pullback, they chain it really nicely with the CC from the Vex, and they finish that off. But then just a really nice job at the back end of this fight. Let's not let Sejuani passive allow Sylas to lock down Elyoya.
Yep.
He gets enough damage out that DRX does not want to chase through, and they get away with the kill.
And I would guess that Zeka is Q-Max on Sylas, being that he's into a ranged matchup. You can't really easily spam the melee range W. Like if you're a Kali, it's probably W-Max. Yeah, so it's Q-E-Max. I just looked over at your screen. So the repeatable low cooldown damage isn't there, which means Elyoya actually should feel very safe when slightly isolated, because, you know, it is a lower DPS build. It's way through its push power and whatnot. It lets you play a melee range lane, but now with the Herald being summoned up, it'll be shared across the two. You saw Kaiser backs up far enough away to not leech local gold, so all 5 plates go over. First turret, local gold goes over. Actual turret, local gold goes over. Shared between Armut and Elyoya, who are just going to be huge carries in this game.
So, a lot of League of Legends still has to be played for.
Yes.
But this is now a 2,400 gold lead for Mad Lions, who, if you look at the top of your screen, are 3-1. DRX is 4-0.
Yeah.
So if that 3 turned into a 4 for Mad, and the 4 stays a 4 for DRX, as Deft is maybe getting a solo kill.
Next Q, a couple seconds, has to flash. Good play by Deft, able to sidestep out the ult. You didn't need the health bar anymore, and yeah, honestly, even then, you just instant cleanse it and get out. So well played all sides, especially though by Deft as he gets pressure on the bottom lane, and now at half health, he's like, I'm fighting against Leona.
Yeah, Deft is going to be a problem. I think this is what we're learning.
Yes.
But if Deft is not able to carry this game, DRX will go 4-1, Mad will be 4-1. That would guarantee us at least a tiebreaker here. Just winning a best of 1 in the single round robin doesn't automatically make you greater than the other team. They still have to play a tiebreaker after. Nisqy looking like he's dodging another gank.
Oh, I think flashes down for like 20 seconds longer, gets stunned up, kites away, the fear lands, and Elyoya is here! Finds another, comes back to take the ulti form. Nisqy gets bailed out by his jungler.
Dude, I don't think so. I think Nisqy is smurfing this game. He's absorbed 3 or 4 ganks it's bought Elyoya so much time to farm and get the kills. He's not even that far behind on CS, and now they take the Drake.
Well done all the same, though. A nice gank, but yeah, it's going to look beautiful. Cloud Drake claimed. Definitely late on the dragon stacking. That is the general MO here, actually, at Worlds. Herald has been much more highly prioritized, but really, really well done. Actually worth noting some data across play-ins so far. Obviously, a lot of biases available here because it's a bunch of single run-on best-of-ones, but
yeah.
Blue side has 60% win rate and almost always gets first Herald from their top pressure.
Yeah.
Mad's gotten kind of both everything right now.
Yeah, Mad is smurfing. So he dodges the Sej ult. He also dodges the Pyosik W. Yes, Yuumi gets him, but he waits for the stopwatch as after he lands the CC that then buys enough time for Elyoya to finish off Zeka. Oh man, gets away with a sliver of health at the very end. But as we see in the little pip, Deft is still a problem, like a really big problem. So this is actually kind of Deft versus the world in this game.
Yep. And Mordekaiser is going to be ulti Sivir, as it turns out, in these fights. So, Sunfire, he's got himself...
Well, the ult is a projectile, right?
It is spell shieldable.
So it is spell shieldable on reaction if Deft is...
So, you remember from LCS playoffs, we had, like, Vi Sivir, and somehow every single time Santorin was able to smite off spell shield from... Or, like, it was Hans Sama and, like, Closer was able to smite every time. So, like, I mean, the timing window gets absurdly tight, but... Ult range, it is a longer range than Smite, but if you are in range, you can be like, I'm ulting you, and then you can try to smite off spell shield right before it lands.
But he doesn't have Smite, he's top lane.
You're right, I'm stupid. So we got to fight in the top side. It's already Forgiven going down.
You played so much jungle ward, you're like, this is the tech.
I'm so stupid. Yeah, well, forgive me for that one. He'll TP onto him. Anyway, a kill in the mid side. Apologies for the mistakes there. Zeka has done nice things there, getting themselves a kill on the board. Still a 2,500 gold difference, but Deft now hoovering up mid lane.
Yeah, the bot gap would be the way that DRX takes this game, but I mean, Elyoya is also farming up a Storm that is now 120 plus CS. Actually gives his blue over to Nisqy, so that's the type of cooperation you love to see. Nisqy gives all of the farm to Elyoya until the blue buff is at stake, and then he's able to pass it off. But yeah, look at that CS gap between Sej and Bel'Veth currently. Quick maths, 47. As well as the 2 kills.
Yeah, it's got to be huge. Looks like we're on the Ruin King Sunfire, I think. The build out here for the Bel'Veth.
He'll probably go tank mythic.
Yeah. Very standard to go pretty bruisery. Death Stance to come and pick up. You can see Kraken, but it's often like, it can be like Kraken Death Stance kind of stuff. Like you pick your version of bruiser, but Bel'Veth often wants to be able to hold on to the front line, so no surprises here with the build. 2 minutes ago, still, till the Hextech Drake spawns.
Yeah, Unforgiven very far behind the curve versus Deft. Deft with Mythic complete, trying to fight over this mid-prio. That's what Matt is here for, knowing that Sylas is back in base. Nisqy had basically skipped that entire wave bottom to hopefully get a pick mid. Now he has to run back, and there'll be a reset period for Mad.
Yeah, and honestly, there's not much to strive for right now, right? It feels like we're in a pretty solid spot where there's nothing to play around, so it's really just like kind of freestyle. What can you play for? What can you grab? Okay, a camp, cool. That is, 70-ish gold to our side, 70-ish gold denied away from Pyosik as well. Armut going to be in a little scrap here with Kingen. Of course, has stacked a bit of armor early on. Looking to ult, maybe from Kingen's side, and doesn't want to lock him down. He had reinforcements coming, and either one you can cast it on the Camille side or the Mordekaiser side. Just like, okay, we're going to keep you here for 8 seconds, and then it's 3v1, so you'll die afterwards. But either one, we're going to press that button out, and we get the Herald spawn now to the bottom side as no one is here. This turret is almost certainly just going to die. Mad Lion's going to find themselves with 2-1 turret lead.
Both solo laners show top lane for Mad, so Elyoya uses that opportunity to go take the bot turret. Really like that play, just increasing his own pocket more and more. The gold leader in the game, weirdly enough, is actually Mordekaiser, but
he's forming a storm.
Yeah, he's actually 10 CS per minute, plus he shared in the first turret gold from the first Rift Herald drop. So when he hits Demonic or Rylai's, that's when he's going to get also very powerful. So I think Mad Lions, if you're going to ask them 18 minutes ago, what game state do you want? I think they'll take this one probably 9 times out of 10.
All right, Mordekaiser has 300 gold inventory, so that you can't combine either one. Rylai's is 415, I believe, so you can't tell which one he's going for. Demonic, obviously more damage. Rylai's helps you like lock someone down. If he does, for example, go for Deft, who wants to kite him, Sivir ult doesn't beat Rylai's slow, so that like kind of signifies that's your target selection a little bit. We'll see what it ends up being, though. Unfortunately for him, doesn't get another recall timer off before the Dragon spawns. It's up in 12 seconds. QSS not in for Pyosik. So if you want to ult him to guarantee the smite for your jungler, that is certainly an availability. And should honestly just win the duel against a 4-level deficit Sejuani.
I mean, for the most part, it looks like DRX is conceding this Drake to try and get farm on the top turret, but then Mad is also conceding the Drake to get the even more valuable inner bot turret.
Looks like Herald actually hit that one, so even though they kind of left Herald alone after they got the first turret, it actually managed to slam, so a 1/4 HP bot tier 2, easy to kill. Armut again getting the gold. Zeka topside does have TP.
For this to hold the wave if he can. Nope. Okay, DRX doesn't even decide to dive.
Wow.
You can see that Luden's hitting really hard
as
well. This is kind of the standard Yuumi build that I'm seeing now as well. The poke in the mid game is so high, and there's no sustain as of yet for Misfortune.
The Aegis build path is in the inventory indeed for Elyoya.
Yep.
I don't think any other tank mythics go out of the Aegis, so gonna be on Sunfire. Second, level 11, transforms again off of this dragon kill, and looking really good here.
Man.
DRX saying, you know, yeah, we're too far behind. It is demonic, by the way, so that is the more frontline focused option here out of Mordekaiser. So it leads me to believe he's probably going for the Camille or the Sejuani in these fights, most likely.
What are we watching, by the way? Like, if Mad Lions pull this off, you mentioned something in the start of the game, like it is actually possible, and I know we're looking really far ahead, but it's actually possible for Mad to be a quarterfinalist at Worlds without winning a best of 5 the whole year.
Yeah.
Because what that means, if they win this game and then also win the tiebreakers to actually get first in this group, that would put them in the group stage.
Yeah.
In which case, you do well in the group stage. You
best
also
of ones.
They're just the best of ones guts. By the way, best of ones did get LEC first team All Pro for Elyoya, for Nisqy, for Unforgiven, for Kaiser, for 4/5 of their roster. The one guy who didn't is actually the gold leader in the game at 8,600, which is Armut's Mordekaiser. So, win a best of ones.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, turns out format for LEC pretty good at making the deep run of Worlds. Looking pretty solid right now, but Unforgiven, careful, a lot of fog of war. That was almost a dangerous wave to go for. Pyosik theoretically could have gone for like the Q ult, but with Cleanse being up, it's not much of a play, so nothing going through, just taking the waves, just chilling. But we are on 2 full items now for Deft to play now into the left side of the map. The dive on in, Elyoya gets a kill, you over the top, and a flash away for Deft, but Beryl dropped at the same time. He was over the top.
They're just going for Beryl.
Couldn't find a new player.
They have demonic Mordekaiser and a Bel'Veth. This thing is just dead.
This is dead so incredibly fast. MF on an item is good enough. It's DRX every time realizing we just have to cross map. Mad Lions are simply too strong. Every time they pick the fight is right. And look at that, a 22-minute Baron. Mad Lions careening towards first place in the group.
I cannot say enough good stuff about Nisqy in this game. The LEC MVP for a reason. It's not always about having all the resources for yourself. It's about doing the right things in game. So he's 20 CS down. He's got Elyoya super far ahead here. Elyoya makes the primary initiation, and Nisqy over the wall here with the ulti also tags the Yuumi. He tags Beryl's Yuumi before he can hide, gets them the second kill, which then I think makes that Baron uncontestable. Amazing play.
That was really, really big. Those 2 kills meant so much right there. Obviously, no smite makes it tough in the first place, but yeah, 4v5, you can kind of contest sometimes with a 2-item AD carry. Not going to happen here. So mid now under fire. Look at their 4th turret of the game. Top tier 2 not to be killed just yet, but mid obviously pretty low. Armut sticking with the group to make the siege happen, but has to realize that Camille is splitting the top side. Will be poaching the Krugs down as well. So Kingen doing what he can to get his farm back up. Actually has taken over the CS lead of top lane temporarily.
Yeah.
As we're getting the Thornmail coming through now for Armut. Yeah, again, looking to just tank somebody out and not be the major carry, because Elyoya pretty much is that.
How many minions can Deft kill? That is the new minigame for DRX.
Yeah.
Ideally, they would have been a lot more active in the early game with the Sejuani and the double melee topside, but now it's all about being a front-to-back team comp. Pyosik needs to be within auto-attack range of Deft so that when Mad does hit the Sejuani, Deft is able to fire through. There are relatively short ranges on Mad, so if they don't have a clean engage, Deft's ricochets can do a lot of damage. But at this point, that's a pretty rose-tinted take because Mad Lions is very far ahead in this game.
We're doing so well right now, Nisqy. Getting a couple of wards down to the bottom river as it's just Mad Lions owning that one. We are under 7 minutes from an Ocean Soul here as well. Mad Lions Baron buff will time out. 2400 gold on the Red Bull Baron power play, but will time out. They're going to take their, looks like, final resets. T-minus 1 minute till the Drake spawns. That is usually the call. You can greed if you have TP, where you can recall at like 15 and then just like finish a mythic or something or some kind of big item, then TP in instantly. But for the most part, if you're going to walk, use your own legs, recall at 1 minute, get back out of the map, make sure your waves are good, get your wards back down. And with the gold lead, I can't see how DRX should be able to contest that. As long as Redlines play it correctly, any fight is just theirs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think DRX needs to wait another 5.5 minutes at least. And even being up here is risk of kind of losing the game if there's a clean engage by Kaiser. Also just want to say I really like this team composition from Mad.
Yeah.
Specifically Kaiser on Engaged Champions. I feel like kind of ever since he arrived on the scene in LEC several years ago, he's been so good at creating team fights. So this is part of why, personally, I said this before World started, I feel like it was actually somewhat unfair the way people dumped on Mad Lions and their perceived form coming into this event, because they were very bad on playoffs patch, which made them bad in playoffs. But throughout the regular season, they were the first place team. I think in a world where Nisqy can not be locked into control mage matchups, where Kaiser isn't locked into playing an enchanter, they are just a completely different beast. And I think they're showing that in this game.
Looking good right now. Elyoya finds himself his third Drake, and it's looking very good on a 5,000 gold lead. DRX going to keep trying to get what gold they can. And they have found 3 turret kills. Like, to their credit, the amount of crossing DRX has done, I mean, this game has felt so absurdly in control. The gold lead is only, in air quotes, 5,000. Okay, it's 5,000 and 3 Drakes. That is a ton of power. Oh, it's going to keep him outside the Baron pit, so now Kingen is going to guarantee be locked down. They're going to get the whole squad around him. When he comes out, he could flash the wall. Will try to do so, but it's, I think he has it too early. I think he was still in the Death Realm, and that picks up the kill.
Misplay there by Kingen, and you could see just the demonic and Sunfire, once those things really get rolling.
A lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage, and it's a perfect, we got to get the CS up right now. It's too perfect. 200 to 100. It's the perfect CS double. Oh, it's gone now.
In jungle?
Yeah, that would have been the Elyoya Horizon, I think, where he's exactly 100 CS up and also being double the CS of the other jungler. But they're going for a fight.
Yeah, 6-0 objectives. Don't keep that one too far away as well. Pyosik, of course, to be flashing away to stay alive. Kaiser will survive the tower. Yuumi wants to put the ulti on, but not enough in time. Almost kills him, but not enough coming across. He will survive it. Teamfight looking pretty good. Armut forced to flash to safety. The chase on in. Zeka gets one, and he's got a Yuumi in the pocket. Could they get more? They jump on in. The bot line's in danger, but Deft is down. That means Zeka pretty much left alone with a pocket cat. Kingen, Keepy's back in, though, looking to make one happen. 3v4. Yuumi heals. She's got plenty of mana still. How good do the recalls look? A quick slow into Elyoya. A little bit of poke. Soon the fear available for Nisqy takes some more.
This could be the game deciding fight right
prowling projectile. The squad is here. Unforgiven is low. Here comes the push on in, and Kingen has to ult to safety for a little bit of time. They shut down Misfortune with the prowling projectiles. A dive in for Zeka gets a second, and the health bar is going to be too much now. But these still land. However, Absconda Duck takes one down. 5-8 and kills the gold lead. That little bit closer.
Oh, this game just got so interesting. Whenever Yuumi gets a fed bruiser, it multiplies the power. And Zeka just got massively fed. He is now the richest player in the game, and will have a Yuumi on. Let's watch this one more time. So Camille is already down, which emboldens Kaiser to go for this initiation, but they can't quite get the execute, and he takes 5 turret shots. Then, look at how grouped everybody is. The ricochets will hit everyone, and Deft speeds up the team. Deft plus Yuumi means you actually can't run away once a fight is lost. Zeka, who's had such an incredible play in this tournament so far, flashes in to get the close. Of course, Nisqy actually knows exactly when to go back in to kill Deft, and then the end of this fight was just about biding time, and just the Sylas ends up popping off.
And so close to killing Kingen here as well, right? Down to about 1,000 HP, finally gets the ulti off to push them around, but now the fight continues on, and Pyosik just so incredibly low. Bel'Veth putting out so much damage, but Kingen got onto Unforgiven and solo kills the AD carry.
Oh my.
So a 6-kill Bel'Veth, level 15 primary carry here.
This is one game where actually, like, the AD carry is super overrated for Mad, because Bel'Veth, Mordekaiser is plenty of damage, but they can't just lose like that.
Kaiser, Deft I mean, he killed himself flashing on the AD carry in the previous fight, went too aggressive, and Nisqy was there. This one almost oversteps as well, but Kaiser still kind of locked down. Zeka will try to find that kill. Kingen is able to get out, and finally Leona drops. So that is a jungler down for the entire bot lane of Mad Lions.
Such a tense moment in the game right now. Arguably, it has flipped into DRX's favor as they have won back-to-back team fights, but they are still 3 dragons down with the Ocean Soul spawning in a minute, and Mad will have 5 people alive for that. Looking at the gold, it's 13,000 gold on Zeka's Sylas, and here he comes.
There's the root. There's a whole bunch of damage instantly deleted. He built armor, and Sylas wanted to kill him, but Zeka gonna get traded back out. Huge damage. Mad Lions, Elyoya onto 7.
That's so big, though, because he has no teleport for Sylas, and Armut does have teleport on Sejuani, so it will give Mad a 5v4 opportunity. They just get these recalls in 30 seconds until Ocean Drake. They need to shove this mid wave so they have a pathway into River to try and get this soul. Elyoya is so
yeah. And Zeka has to walk from base 5 seconds late without TP. If Mad Lions are paying attention, basically, this shouldn't be possible to lose. All of the gold is on one man who can't be in this fight. Mad Lions DP and Armut in 10 seconds.
I think it's conceded.
And then you just like ult Sejuani, who I'm pretty sure has no QSS, and you can't lose the smite fight. Like, if you play it correctly, you are guaranteed Ocean Soul.
Elyoya can't take too much poke. The Yuumi poke is very strong. If Deft lands a boomerang, it's a lot. I think DRX should concede, though.
Trinket spots him,
yeah,
and you can see Armut walks over. He's like, I'm going to play on that side of the map. Ocean Soul claimed, and now Grievous Wounds is required on somebody. Future Fire is on for Beryl.
Yeah.
So whenever he heals or shields a teammate, both his and their next spell will apply major Grievous Wounds, but then that's going to be back until his passive W is back, or his E. And that's going to be few and far between, so it will not apply to everybody unless you get a really good ulti that hits 5 on the first tick.
Yeah, as of so far in this game, it's reduced 800 healing.
Not bad.
So it's probably going to reduce a lot more in the next fight now that Ocean Soul is there. And yeah, I think Mad Lions right now are just trying to set up at this Baron and arguably even start it, but it is, you do have to be so careful about Deft. And if I'm DRX, this is such a tense moment in the game because they want to delay Baron until they can get Death Cap on Sylas.
Yeah.
Ideally, they can get Infinity Edge on Sivir. If they get Death Cap on Sylas, Infinity Edge on Sivir, maybe they could be favored even against the Soul. But as of now, Mad wants to accelerate this game before those items are completed, so I like them starting this Baron right now.
Again, we know that Pyosik cannot get away from the Death Realm. Zeka can actually pop one himself, so he can just like drag in Mordekaiser and let his own teammate in, and he'll win that fight every time. There's no tools for Armut to drive Sylas here, so Zeka, I think, still kind of the man of the match.
All right, really keep your eyes on Nisqy right here. If he lands the Vex ultimate and gets a good fear off, that I think is enough to win the game. But if he misses, then there would be no lockdown for Deft Sivir, and he'd be able to carry. This is a win right now for DRX that they pushed Mad back onto the mid lane because it buys them time and Death Cap is completed.
That's huge. That is huge. Zeka is gigantic. He is such a massive force. Control with inventory for good measure. The man to watch for sure. On the same side, Elyoya, of course, doing incredibly as well. Unforgiven, now starting up for the Baron. And it's the pressure. It's on. The damage, of course, is going to be very high if they can get everything stacked up. But Armut is playing to zone. He just ults Pyosik. They're just going to burn it. They're just going to burn down Baron. Uncontested smite. Can they get the damage in time? Because the fight is coming in. Zeka dives in. Can he kill Elyoya? He comes out in time to smite it and stay alive for now. But it's going to be dangerous. 1,000 gold shutdown comes through. And it's only 3 for nothing. Unforgiven has to run away. Mordekaiser cuts the wave. But there's no way Misfortune lives. You may have got the Baron, but Zeka took your whole damn team apart as DRX go up in kills.
And there are already minions at this turret and 5 alive for DRX. Freak, I think they might have just won the game.
30 seconds. There is so much time. You've got to find a way to buy it for yourself. Armut by himself can try. Pop the passive, pop a stopwatch, cut a wave. I think he needs to get this wave before it reaches his Nexus turrets. That's the best chance you have at living. And it means he has to play up in about 2 seconds. He's going to take some Yuumi poke, but he needs to buy them the time. Yoinks in what he can. He can't barely get almost anything done. I don't think he even got a passive on. There's no damage being dealt. He just dies instantly. And the turrets are going to fall. Respawns come in for just as important. Kaiser, do they care? I guess they'll go back to the turrets. They'll finally kill him. And the Nexus will drop. DRX get the comeback, win and secure first place.
It wasn't pretty, but DRX is now undefeated in the group stage of play-in and advances to the group stage of the main event. Hats off to Mad Lions for getting the soul, having a large lead, and making this game go the distance. That's a backbreaker for them. DRX takes the bow. They're going to group stage.
Congratulations, DRX. As Mad Lions fall to 3-2, they are hoping now for an upset win. They are hoping that RNG drops a game and can shark second from them in a tie break. I think
Sure.
that's arguably the better road for them. I think that's always going to be your hope. And so they get to wait and see. We can still see Mad Lions fight for second if RNG drops the next game. Otherwise, RNG, of course, if they take the win, they just grab second, no problem. Mad Lions, no matter what, are going to be playing a best of 5 to move on. That is the thing.
Yeah.
If they want to make the group stage at Worlds, they will be playing 1 or 2 best of 5s.